Thursday the 7th of June, out and about again. Anybody who's looked at the last couple of video blogs will see that it looks as though I'm wearing the same shirt. I've only got one shirt, so we have to wash it out overnight. No, I've got several of these shirts. What I ought to do is put a different one on so it doesn't look as though we're quite as impoverished as we actually are. But out and about again, a grand day, 25, 26 degrees. The one highlight of the week, Bank Holiday Monday, last Monday, was a particularly wet day, and we had somewhere in the region of 9-10 mil of rain, which has obviously been beneficial. We've had one or two showers prior to that, but the amount of benefit from those showers has been tremendous. And the other thing we've got to bear in mind in this part of the world is just how the crops look in comparison to one or two areas further south. For instance, in East Anglia, talking to somebody who works in that area, I mean, you know, it's all relative, and we've got to remain optimistic about the way crops are and the yield we're going to get when people further south. Reports are that there are one or two crops in certain areas that it's just not worth putting the combine through. So I think we should bear those people in mind when we look at perhaps less than optimum yields in this part of the world. What I'm going to do is go up onto the Wolds, heading on through Pocklington up onto the Wolds. I'm going to look at one or two crops that by now should have received the T2. One thing that I have tended to do is talk down the need this year in terms of cost benefit of putting a T3 fungicide on wheats. But you know, wheats this year are a hell of a lot shorter than they've been in other years, and the showers that we've had, Monday for instance, fairly heavy rain, prolonged rain, with that plant being shorter, the promotion of diseases like Septoria tritici up the plant, they've got less distance to travel. So, you know, we need to gain optimum yield without overspending and tending to buy back yield ourselves. We've just got to be mindful of the fact that shorter plant, easier for diseases to climb up that plant. And whilst I'm not suggesting that we would probably use a normal input regime in terms of fungicide, just bear in mind that reneging on the crop now is not necessarily the answer. That's not to say I'm wanting people to spend money unnecessarily. On our farm, I've still got the debate going on in my mind as to whether the spend is worth it. And the way I look at it, any money you spend on a crop, it doesn't matter whether it's £2 a hectare or £20 a hectare. That sum of money is an investment in that crop. The later applications, if they're going to give a benefit in terms of yield, then the return on that investment comes back quicker. But if you're spending a tenner per hectare, you need more than a tenner per hectare back for that investment. You wouldn't go to the bank and put £1 in the bank and 12 months later, although it's probably, as far as savers are concerned, and I'm not in that group, you know, putting £1 in the bank and then 12 months later coming back and only getting £1 back, was it worth it? I doubt it. But anyway, we'll see what we see when we get up there. The other things that are running through my mind at the moment, and as the season matures and we start thinking about crop rotations for next year and what the market's doing in terms of Russia putting grain onto the European market, which, you know, if it's true, is certainly not going to offer us £200 a tonne. I've been offered, I think I'm right in saying, 160 for harvest 2012 for wheat, 169 or thereabouts for November. This year, with the way crops are, it's going to put a lot of pressure on cereal seed prices. So that throws into question home safe seed. Seed houses aren't going to like me for saying that, but I think that's for many years going to be more popular this year. I haven't had any seed prices through yet, but I consider they're going to climb dramatically from last year. So we'll just have to wait and see there. Home safe seed is not necessarily a great deal cheaper. Time you started talking about the dressing, the bags, etc., etc. But we'll see. But all those thought patterns are going through, certainly going through my mind if seed prices climb horrendously high, which there's a possibility of doing. Anyway, we'll carry on and get up to the top of the Wolds and see what we can see.